Assalamu alaikum. So today we are going to study language attitudes in multilingual setting. Before turning to the models which address how speakers use multiple languages in discourse, we must address the issue of attitudes about particular codes. Speaker choices of code also reflect how they want others to view them. This is apparent from various matched guise experiments that certain social psychologists have conducted. If a person A is fluently bilingual in languages X and Y, how is he or she judged as a person when speaking X? How do the same judges evaluate A when A is speaking Y? In matched gaze experiments, the judges are unaware that they are judging the same person speaking different languages, that is, in different guises. Their judgments are therefore seen as a reflection of their feelings about the speakers of X and Y. Feelings about such matters as their competencies, integrity, and attractiveness. So, Lambert, a Canadian social psychologist, developed these techniques in order to explore how listeners react to various characteristics in speech. So, the listeners were asked to judge particular speech samples recorded by bilingual or bidialectal speakers using one or different languages or dialect or one guise on one occasion and the other language or dialect or the other guise in identical circumstances. The judgments sought are of such qualities as intelligence, kindness, dependability, ambition, leadership, sincerity, and the sense of humor. Since the only factor that is varied in language or dialect use, the responses provided group evaluations of the speakers of these languages and the dialects and therefore tap social stereotypes. In one such study, the Lambert in 1967 reported the reactions of Canadian men and women referred to as the English Canadian and French Canadian according to their dominant language. To the subject who spoke English on one occasion and French on another, both English and Canadian French Canadian listeners reacted more positively to English guesses than French guesses. Among 80 English Canadian and 92 French Canadian first year college age students from Montreal, he found that the English Canadian judges treated the female speakers more favorable in their French guys. In particular, they were rated as more intelligent, ambitious, self confident, dependable, courageous, and sincere than when speaking English. The male speakers were rated more favorable in their English guises by English Canadian speakers. They were rated as taller, kinder, and more dependable and more entertaining by the English Canadian male judges, and as taller, more likable, affectionate, sincere, and conscientious, and as possessing more characters and a greater sense of humor by the female English Canadian judges. In contrast, French Canadian male speakers were rated lower in integrity and social attractiveness. The judges were also given the opportunity to compare continental French speakers with the French Canadian, and Lambert reports that English Canadian judges appear to be less concerned about European French people in general than they are about the local French people. The European French are neither downgraded nor taken as potential social models or to any great extent. Somehow, what was most surprising, however, was that the French Canadian judges showed the great distinctions between French Canadian and continental French speakers, rating the continental French speakers more favorable than English Canadian speakers, who were rated more favorably than in their French Canadian guys. In other words, they rated members of their own group less favorably on the whole, apparently viewing their own linguistic and cultural groups as somewhat inferior to both the English Canadian and the continental French groups. Which this preference, the apparently stronger in French Canadian males and females. So we can move to the topic. Other investigators have used the matched guess techniques and reported results which clearly indicate that the listeners are affected by code choices when they judge what speakers say to them. Certain codes are demand more appropriate for certain messages than other codes. Codes and messages are inseparable. The choices we make about the codes we speak influence how we are evaluated. So Giles and Copland conclude their summary of the work done up to 1990 on the matched guise techniques with the observation that listeners can very quickly stereotype others' personal and social attributes on the basis of language cues and in ways that appear to have crucial effect on important social decisions made about them. Not only are particular language stereotyped, but the mixture of two or more languages is often even usually stigmatized. Many people who have a monoglossic ideology, that is, they believe that languages should be kept strictly separate, and this is it true of monolingual and multilinguals alike. They may even use derogatory terms to describe what they hear. For example, Franglais, French and English in Quebec, Fragnol, French and Spanish in Argentina. Such dismissal of the phenomenon demonstrates serious misunderstandings with what we have here is not just a haphazard mixing of two languages brought about by laziness or ignorance of some combination of these. What we have are speakers with a sophisticated knowledge of both languages who are also actually aware of community norms. These norms requires that both languages be used in this way so that speakers can show their familiarity or solidarity. The ability to mix codes in this way is often a source of pride. For instance, a number of popular books on Spanglish which presents it as a desirable way of speaking. This is said by Cruz and Tech. These writings show a pluralist ideology in which multiple ways of speaking and beings are valued. So, this is all about the topic of today. Now, we will discuss diglossia in another lecture.